Who need a fork when you got fingers? Just go ahead and take these fingers and dig on in there and stop playing. Yes, honey, yeah. Now, I can go eat right now. Y'all, ooh, and your onion, baby. You want some? I'll give you some. There you go. All right. Hey y'all, this is Curlinda with Curlinda Can Cook, and today we are going to be making some collard greens with smoked turkey wings and cornbread. So let's get ready, let's get set, let's get cooking. Alright y'all, so to get started with our dish, we have some turkey wings right here. These are smoked turkey wings that we've already rinsed off. In our pot here, we have 10 cups of water. And what we're going to do is we are going to put our turkey wing in this water and let it boil. And what we're going to do is make a broth with this because we're going to use this broth later. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it later. But right now, we're just going to go ahead and let this boil up so we can get all the yummy goodness and smoke up out of these turkey wings into this water. And making our turkey wings, we're going to let them boil until they are very tender so that we can shred them. Alright guys, so I wanted to bring you back and show you what we have going on. Now we have been cooking our turkey wing for 2 hours now, letting it boil with the lid on. What we're going to do is just go ahead and take this and put it in a glass bowl and allow it to cool down so that we can shred this off of the bone. We're going to shred it so that the meat will be nice and shredded for our greens, as well as we're going to take out any tendons that may be in our meat because you don't want that. Now we have this broth over here that's left over. We're going to take this and we're going to pour this right into a mixing bowl because we're going to use that broth and incorporate that broth back into our pot. Now what we're going to do is take and put some oil in our pot so that we can wilt down our greens. So to wilt down our greens here, what we're going to do, I have a cooking spoon right here. Okay, next to me I have a container with oil in it, and this is used cooking oil. I'm just taking 1 spoon and dipping 1 spoon into that oil. Okay, then I'm going to take some of my greens and I'm going to put them right in there like so. Okay. Now we're going to give these greens a good stir. And I'm wilting down my greens and I'm kind of blanching them at the same time. Now this is totally optional. You can take your greens and put them in your pot with your water and let them cook. But I like to blanch down my greens first when I'm cooking them. So what I'm going to do now that I have this here, I'm going to put the lid on it, add a little steam to it, and when I come back, you're going to see how much it wilts down. So we've had our lid on our greens for 1 minute, and you see how that wilts down like so? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to add us some more greens. Okay. So we're going to take another handful of greens. Put those in there. And we already washed our greens, y'all. Okay. Oh, I see a little leaf right there. I didn't catch the first time, so take that out. Now that I've added more greens, I'm going to get another spoon of oil. And I'm going to add this right on top of these. And I'm going to stir it. So that basically I'm folding my new greens to the bottom of the pot. I'm folding my new greens to the bottom of the pot. And my greens that were already in there, I'm pretty much folding them up to the top of the pot. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead, put my lid back on for another minute and let these wilt down together. Okay, y'all, so our greens have been steaming for another minute. And what we're doing now, let me set this lid right here. Our greens have been steaming for another minute. So what we're going to do is give them another good stir. And as you see how they're wilting down in the pot. So we're going to be able to get this whole bunch of greens in our pot at one time. Okay? Now, here's a good tip for you. You see how I'm blanching down these greens? If you want to blanch your greens and not want to cook them right away, but you want to freeze them, if you do this to your greens first and add a little bit of salt into it, your greens will come back out and they'll taste fresh. Okay? So that you can get them all blanched down, kind of like pre-cook them, especially when you're preparing for the holidays and stuff and you don't want to fully cook your greens all the way. This is a good tip to know. Okay? So all you have to do is just cook it up and freeze it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm adding the last of these greens. And y'all, this was a small bunch of greens, okay? In your area, if you don't have like fresh greens, you can get you some greens in the bag in Walmart. But make sure that you wash your greens really good. I usually wash my greens about 5 or 6 times in the sink. Okay? Now what I've done here is I've added my final spoon of oil. Okay? I add oil in my greens. Everybody doesn't add oil in their greens. Why do I add oil in my greens? Because Grandma put it in her greens. So therefore, I put it in my greens. I never know why she put it in the greens. I know they taste different when you don't put the oil in there. To me, it tastes watery. So I put oil in mine. But there you go. But I use the used cooking oil because it's seasoned. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and let this wilt down for another minute so that we can add our meat and everything there. Alright, so now we have everything all wilted down here in our pan. Now what I did, you all, is I let the lid stay on actually for 5 minutes while I was shredding up my meat. Okay, because I want my meat to go on the top of this to get that nice smoke flavor back in. Now this right here, if you see something like this in your greens, take that out, okay? Alright, so we're going to give this a good stir, like so. And here's what we're going to do. This is our liquid broth that we had from earlier. And this made 3.5 cups of broth. What we're going to do is just take this and pour this right back in here with our greens. Now, as of now, if you notice, I have not added salt to anything. Couple reasons why I have not added any salt. One, our turkey is smoked. So with that smoke, it already has salt. Two, this is going to reduce down. And I don't want to add too much salt in my greens now. So when my liquid reduces down, it'll be too salty. So here's what I did while we were gone. Here's my bones to my turkey. Now you can add these back in or not add these back in. Is your choice. Okay. But what I'm going to do is add our shredded turkey wing back in there. Okay. That's all of our meat. I just shredded it up in some nice big chunks. And I'm just going to let this sit right here on the top. Now, I like to take mine off the bone because when it's done, I don't want to be fighting with the bone, with the meat. Now, I will go ahead and put the bone back in there. For now, till I get ready to stir it. Because you see this meat and stuff right here? All of this meat and stuff will cook off of this bone. Or you could take your bones and save them and freeze them and put them in some beans or something. So right now, all we have in this pot, y'all, is just the greens that we wilted down in our oil. We have our meat and the bones. We're going to go ahead and put our lid back on it. And we're going to let this sit here and cook on a medium-high flame for about a good 30 minutes. Then we'll come back and add our seasonings in here. We are going to get ready now to add our seasonings into our pot. Before we do, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the bones. Like I said, to add the bones, y'all, that is very optional. Look at that. That looks so good, y'all. To add the bones in, that is optional. I personally don't like to fight with the bones later. Okay? This right here is a little bone from our wing tip right there. Okay, guys, so to add our seasoning, what we are going to do, we have a half a white onion cut here. We're going to go ahead and add that into our greens. Here we have 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now, this is not going to make your, I know that seems like it's a lot of sugar, y'all. Trust me, it's not. It's not going to make your greens sweet, but it will take the tart off. This right here is a 1/4 cup of vinegar. We're going to go ahead and add that in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a teaspoon of garlic salt. If you have fresh garlic, you can add fresh garlic if you want to. I personally don't care for garlic, the fresh garlic in my greens, but that is totally up to you. Alright, y'all, so we're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of accent. Now this accent along with your vinegar and sugar, honey, that make you want to go and slap about 4 or 5 people. Bye, y'all. And we're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now you do not want too much red pepper flakes in your pot because you don't want to ruin it with the heat. You don't want spicy collard greens. You just want to give them a little kick unless you are a spice person. Now before I add my salt, I am going to stir all of this in and taste it. Y'all know what I always tell you, stir, taste, repeat. Okay, I'm going to stir all of this in and taste my pot. Because remember, we had all of our smoked meat that was already salty. Then we have our garlic salt that we just add in there. Okay, so you don't want too much salt, especially if you're cooking for somebody with high blood pressure. Let's go ahead and give this a good taste. Alright. That is so good. Now for me, I almost dropped my spoon. Now for me, I'm only going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay? It's really good where it is, but I just want to add a little salt to get the freshness out of it. When you taste it, if you don't want to add salt, don't add your salt. Tell everybody hi, Jen. Wave your hand, mama. Y'all see Genesis, my little sidekick, done came in the kitchen. Alright, y'all, so give this a good stir. Like so. And we're going to get us a clean spoon, and we're going to taste it again. Y'all, because we've been cooking this with the lid on, our greens are really, really tender. Yes, yes, yes. Good God, that is good. Oh, my goodness. Okay, now what I'm going to do, like I said, our greens are already tender. And depending on the age of your greens, some greens take longer to cook than others. Because the older your greens are, which means the bigger your leaves, the longer they stayed out in the field, y'all, the tougher they are. So it takes those, because those are older greens, it takes them longer to cook. But when you have young, tender baby greens or smaller leaf greens, it doesn't take them as long to cook because they're not as big and thick and tough. Okay? Y'all gotta get a little bit of these greens with this meat right here and taste this, okay? Look at there. Look how that meat just falling apart, honey. And you see we have our meat where it's all through our greens. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. Our pot is on medium high now. I'm going to turn this on medium low. I'm turning this down on medium low just so that I can put my lid back on it and let it more or less steam. And I'm going to let this steam for about another 30 minutes. Like I said, for you, if you decide that your greens need to be a little more tender and take a little more time, let them cook until you get the desired tenderness. Me, these are young greens, so these are pretty done, okay? I'm going to just let these do their thing while I cook my other parts to my meal. Would you look at there? Y'all, our greens have been steaming down over here. Now, I must tell y'all, instead of letting them steam for 30 minutes, I did let them go for 45 minutes. Because I got busy and started doing something else. But that is fine. Here you go. Now, only thing left for us to do, y'all, is make that cornbread. So, our greens are all done. You see, you still have a nice amount of broth left in them. Now if you want that to cook down, go ahead and let it cook down. Me, I leave some in my greens because I like to be able to sop it up with the cornbread. That right there is all pot liquor right there, okay? That's what that is, honey. You put that over some rice with some hot sauce and your collard greens, baby, that's some good eating right there. So yeah, sugar, you can leave your broth in or not. To get your broth out, just at the end, just take your lid off and let it reduce down some more. Other than that, honey, go ahead and get that cornbread and let that cornbread take care of everything you need to be taken care of, sis. Bruh, go ahead, let that have that right there. Alright, y'all, we're going to get ready to get our cornbread all mixed up. Hey, Grayson. Y'all gonna hear my Grayson in the background, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all meet Grayson one day. First of all, what we have here is we have 1.5 cups of cornmeal. We're gonna go ahead and put that in our bowl. We also have a 1/2 cup of flour that we're gonna put into our bowl. We're gonna go ahead and add us a pinch of salt into here. You don't want a whole lot of salt, just enough to say you got some, like that. We're going to add 1/3 cup of sugar. If I can get my sugar open. Now, if you like your bread kind of sweet, you can add the sugar. If you don't like sweetness in your bread, don't add the sugar, okay? And our cornbread, we're going to be making whole cakes of cornbread on top of the stove. So this cornbread is not going to be going in the oven. What we're going to do here is we're going to give all of our dry ingredients a really good mix. Okay? Like so. Make sure that we got all the lumps and everything out. Now you are using, this is all-purpose flour that I'm using. If you're using all-purpose flour, you can add you some baking powder to give a little rise to your cakes or to your cornbread, I should say, or you can omit it. Okay, if you're using self-rising flour, you don't have to worry about adding it at all because it's already mixed into your flour. Now here I have 3 tablespoons of butter. Y'all already know I got my Imperial on deck. So we got 3 tablespoons of butter. We have 2 eggs here we're going to add in. Now, you can lightly beat your eggs before you add them in if you want to. That is totally a personal preference. I'm going to be whisking it anyway, so I'm not going to, I didn't beat my eggs. I'm going to start this out with a 1/2 cup of milk, you guys. If you need more, you can always add more. And what we're doing is we are making something that is like the consistency of about a pancake batter, okay? Now we're going to take all this and whisk it up in our bowl really good. And we start in the middle, you see how everything is kind of gravitating in on itself from the outside. So we're just going to keep stirring and keep stirring. And you'll start feeling when in your hand when it starts to get really thick. And then you'll know, oh, I just wasted that out of there, sorry. Then you'll know if you need to add more milk or not. But you see how in the beginning, y'all making a mess. You see how in the beginning, how it seemed like it wasn't going to be enough liquid. Or it was too much liquid. Now, you see how you have something that resembles pancake batter. Now I'm going to finish working with this with my whisk. And I'm going to go ahead and reach over and get my spoon. And finish stirring it with my spoon. Let me put this over here, y'all, before it just decides to do its own thing. Here we go. Now, this is good and thick. If you want this, this is fine. I'm just going to add a tap more of milk, just a tap. Like so. Just to thin it, just a little bit. Now, I am using 2% milk in this. If you want to use buttermilk, you can. If you don't have buttermilk, but you want to make buttermilk at home, just take your milk and put you about a good tablespoon of vinegar in it and let it sit for a few minutes. And you can make your homemade buttermilk. Okay, now here we go, y'all. We have our pancake batter all nice and thick and mixed up. We're going to get this on our oil. Now, again, this is Hoecake cornbread, okay? Don't ask me why they call it Hoecake. This is Grandma called it Hoecake, so that's all I know it is, Hoecake cornbread, because I'm cooking on top of the stove. Now, this is not hot water cornbread. This is a different kind of cornbread. You see this? You see how it's like pancake batter? That's what we want right there. Okay? And we're going to put this on our oil, and we are going to fry this up. If you want it thinner, go ahead and add your little more milk to it if you want to, but for me, this is the consistency that I am looking for. Alright, y'all, so we have made it over here to the stove. We have our oil heating in our pan for our cornbread, and let me show you about how much oil I have in this pan. Because what we wanted to do, you want to have enough oil in your pan for your pancake, or not your pancake, y'all. You want to have enough oil in your pan for your cornbread to be able to absorb some of the oil from the first side that you put it on. Now we have a medium-high heat, and here I have a ladle. Now I'm not going to fill this ladle all the way up, but I'm going to fill it like so. Okay, y'all, here we go. I hope y'all can hear me pretty good because it's actually thundering outside. We're going to put our batter right in the middle. And as I'm letting it come off of my ladle, I'm actually like pushing it a little bit so that it can spread. And I'm just going to swoosh it around some. And we're going to let it cook. You don't want to cook this too fast, because cooking it too fast, you'll have it done on the outside, but it won't be done in the middle. And the worst thing to have is some half-done cornbread, okay? You are frying this like you frying pancakes on the top of the stove. And when it's about time to flip it, if you cook it right, when it's about time to flip it, you'll start to get your bubbles in the middle. I don't know if you can see, but right here there's a bubble forming right there. And I can see my bubbles on this side. We're just going to lift it up and check it. Make sure it ain't getting too dark under there, okay? See this right here? You start seeing that form. This little bubble. See your oil starting to come through? That's what you want. You want to have enough oil in here that your oil starts to absorb through. Okay? And then we're going to just take this and we're going to flip it over. Like so. We're going to just let it cook on the other side, just like we did the first side. And it's okay if it run off a little bit on the side, because you can always just take that off. You can take it off now, or you can let it get a little done. When it does like that to me, I just let it get a little bit done. That way it doesn't stick to my spatula. And you want to lightly press it to see if you have any batter. You don't want to push down so hard that you're smashing it. But you do want to lightly press it to see if you have any batter that may be trying to ooze out that's undone. Okay? Because again, you don't want half done cornbread. Now that this is pretty much done on my sides, I'm going to just go ahead and take my spatula and take that off so that my bread is pretty even. Okay, I cut that off just like that. And now I'm going to take this out of my pan. Right. So now this is cooking. We're going to check it. Let me just flip this so y'all can see the other side, what the other side look like. See that? That's done. Okay? It's brown on both sides. Now I'm going to take this and put this on my plate, add a little more oil, and repeat the process. So once I have all my cornbread done, I will be back. But this is Hoecake Cornbread right there. Alright, y'all, we are down to our last cornbread. And what you see me doing here is I'm just taking my spoon and I'm flattening it out. Everything else is done. Y'all, it's about time for us to plate up and eat up, honey. Some good collard greens and cornbread. Our collard greens sitting over here on low heat, staying warm for us. We got our rice going over here. The whole good pot of yellow rice. Right here, y'all. We got that Imperial butter in it. Imperial on deck. One time for the Imperial. Y'all, somebody go and let the Imperial people know that, hey, Curlinda can cook over there, and she cook with your product all the time. I buy enough of it. I need to invest stock in the company. Y'all know that's what all I use in my cakes and stuff. Alright, y'all, so here we go. We are going to let this one just go ahead and do its thing and cook. And once we get our bubbles, we're going to flip this over, and it's going to be a wrap, honey. Alright, y'all, we got our cornbread flipped. Y'all see how pretty it's cooking up? Yes, honey. So what do y'all call this bread? I know somebody grandma called it something different than mine. My grandma called it hoe cakes. I know I have a friend, her grandma called it bastard bread. Then, you know, depending on where they are from in the world, they have the hot water cornbread. Which this is not, because we didn't use any hot water. Hot water cornbread makes it all thick. It like cooks the cornmeal before it's fried. But what do y'all call it? What do y'all call your cornbread that's cooked on top of the stove? Who grandma from the part of the world that my grandma from? Ain't this pretty, y'all? Now, I want y'all to notice something while I have this cooking. It might be time for it to come off, actually. But you see how this is thick? You see how this is thick? This is why I did not add any baking powder to it, okay? And remember, I used all-purpose flour, right? So, with that being said, that's a good way for you to see that you do not have to add that to have you some nice thick cornbread. Alright, y'all, so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and turn my fire off and move this, because this is done, honey. And we finna plate up and eat up so we can have us some collard greens and cornbread. Oh boy. It's time to eat. Here we go, y'all. These collard greens with this cornbread. Topped with a whole piece of tomato there. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and them onions. And don't forget that vinegar pepper, honey. Yes, indeed. Or the pepper vinegar. Whichever way y'all call it, where you at. You see it right there, honey. Who need a fork when you got fingers? If you have not already done so, please go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Put the notification bell on so that you will be notified of all the delicious dishes that we upload on our channel. Don't forget to share this video with a friend, a family member, a co-worker, anybody, the neighbor, everybody who you think would love to impress somebody by making a delicious dish in their kitchen. You see, honey. Go ahead and get that close up. Ain't you hungry? I know. I know you're hungry, honey. Let me just go ahead and take these fingers and dig on in there and stop playing. Yes, honey. Yeah. Now, I can go eat right now. Y'all, ooh, and your onion, baby. You want some? Let me give you some. There you go. All right. All right, guys. It's movie talk with food in your mouth, so I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all I'll see you in the next video. See y'all later.